on?
You want me to?
I don't know who jumped in here, but how you doing? So we're going to show some guns today. If you're interested, try to have some conversations. I got a couple things to talk about. Nothing real big, nothing real crazy out today. How you guys all doing? All right, get this live going here. Pulled out a few things that people in the past live have asked about. I have a few options for concealed carry. I have a very rare Chinese Type 56 AK-47 there. There's a KSG-12. It's an option for home defense. And I have an early GWAT set up on an early Bushmaster rifle. Is the audio working? Are y'all able to hear me? Angel Dust, is my audio working? Are you able to hear me? Yeah, the one on the right hand side is a Bushmaster. No, the Tommy gun was in the last live. Perfect. Glad you can hear me. Yeah, my last live I had the Thompson out. No, there's no Glock 45s on the table. The two Glocks that are out are both 9mm. One's a 26, one's a 43X. Bushmaster. It's a Bushmaster AR-15. That's an early 2001 Bushmaster. No 45s out here today. There's a 22 revolver mixed in there. There's a 38 special. There's a 357. All the other handguns are 9mm. And if you want to see 45s, my next live, probably due towards the end of next week, I'll make sure I got some 45s in there. Did you get that message? Did a message pop up on there? How many guns do I have total? I had a couple hundred. A little of everything. There's some videos posted on the channel, short format, on one of my big safes. I have I have a lot of different things, like most people would with a large firearm collection. Okay. That wasn't okay, was it?
No, please. So, is that one I can't stop?
But I said okay. Meaning press. I do have a Desert Eagle. I can put that one out next time if that's something you want to see. I almost pulled it out today, but I got a small table, not a lot of room. The small revolver there on the bottom is a North American Arms. It's just a little 22 long rifle. Works. It's a great gun if you want something on you, and you have kind of options of how big is something you can carry. What is that? BO? I don't know what BO means. So the Thompsons, man, they're cool. They're a cool historical firearm. They're a cool collector piece. But actually, for going out and shooting with them or trying to do something with them, they're not as much fun as you think they are. Their ergonomics is really awkward. The AR is a Bushmaster. Yeah, it's a cool classic mafia gun. That's why I own one. But the length of pull on them is weird. They're extremely front heavy. It's a cool gun to have if you're a collector. The NFA is neutered what we can have for firearms. So, like the original Thompson only had a 10 point, I think it was a 10.3 3-inch barrel, maybe 10.5 or something. It was short. Now they're 16 inches, so makes them look a little weird. They're long looking, but it's a cool firearm. No, it's a semi-auto. It's a real close clone to what I used to carry. You have any firearms yourself? The AK is Chinese manufactured. It's a Pro-Chin. If you know anything about uh, Chinese manufactured firearms, that's one of the very first ones that was brought into the country in the late 80s. It's predates all the other ones. They got in trouble, Chinese government got in trouble for importing them. Um, the Pro-Chin stands for People's Republic of China, and they were imported through a company in California, Sherwood, in Northridge, California. Uh, the U.S. had a real hard time swallowing the fact that the Chinese Communist government, the military, was importing and selling for civilian use firearms. So they stomped on them pretty hard. Uh, you got the pistol holder thing. I'm not sure what you mean. No, that's a KSG. It's a shotgun um, made by Kel-Tec. So a lot of the AKs you see in movies were all used out of that original batch of Chinese AKs. They imported right around 8,000 of them before they got shut down, and almost all of them went into the movie industry. And guns, when they go into the movie industry, they're deactivated to the point where you can't fire live cartridges through them anymore. So there's a lot of early AKs that were imported that are very valuable. But that's actual civilian one that was picked up and purchased. Yeah, it does kind of look like that. I had to look down and see what you're talking about. But no, it's a bullpup action 12 gauge shotgun. It holds standard 2 3/4. It'll hold 14 rounds. So if you guys just jumped in, join the conversation. We broke out a few things that I've been asked about in my past live. I got some concealed carry guns up here for you guys to look at. I got my carry gun up there. On the top right side, I got my early Bushmaster. It's GWAT clone set up politically correct. 16-inch barrel, but it's the Surefire I used to have. It's the same optic I had, same rail. Only difference between mine and this is mine was a Colt, and it had the third hole, and it had a 14.5-inch barrel, but that's the same rifle. I think MCX, not MCX. Maybe it is. They have the chassis systems that open up, and you can drop in SIGs, Glocks, Smith and Wessons. A lot of different types of guns that fit in them. A lot of people seem to really like them. I don't have a use for one. I have pistol caliber carbines, so to have a chassis system to throw something in doesn't work for me. Yeah. I can't remember if it's MBX or MCX or something like that. A lot of people seem to like them. I mean, you have a pistol that you're able to fire off the shoulder, then it's definitely going to help in accuracy. But I think that you lose a lot with it. Well, depends on what you shoot. 22 is a great way to get to the range and get to shoot a lot. We shoot it in a couple different types of competition. So I use 22. We shoot a lot of it. I do have a couple 1911s. I didn't have them out here today. So my last live, I had a lot of questions about carry guns. So I threw some options up here. I had a lot of questions about AK-47s, so I got the Chinese protein out. I'm in Wisconsin. What's in New York City? No, I don't own any staccatos. I own a bunch of CZs. That's what I use for competition. I'll have some suggestions, but first I gotta ask you, what do you want to use it for? Do you want just one handgun that you can use for concealed carry, home defense, maybe get into some competition shooting? Or do you want something for hunting? I need to know more about it. Well, my wrists are strong enough. I shoot a lot. Okay, so are we talking small game, or are we talking whitetail, moose, elk, caribou, or one gun for everything? Fox, coyotes, prairie dogs. I don't hunt so much anymore. Whitetail. So my deer rifle I use or have used. I said I haven't hunted much last few years. I have a 300 Winchester short magnum. I bought that to have one rifle for North America. I can shoot moose, elk, caribou. I can load down and shoot coyotes, woodchucks, or anything like that. So for me, my one firearm that covers anything, if that's all I was going to buy for hunting purposes, I bought a 300 Winchester short magnum. But there's a lot of good options. A 308's a great option. Uh, might be a little light if you want to go bigger than whitetail, but 308's a good rifle. Yeah, I think Angel's trying to troll. It's too bad. We could have a great conversation. I don't really want to kick you out. Maybe you learned something. Yeah, so that was primarily what I would use would be rimfire. I grew up on a farm. My mom had a big farm, and on a farm you have lots of equipment. You have lots of brush piles and stuff. So I shot a lot of rabbits with 22. That was my preferred option. When you use shotgun, you get a lot of shot in them. So if I wanted to eat them, that was my choice, was 22. Same with squirrel hunting. I always used a 22 versus a shotgun. It makes it a little bit more fun, a little more challenge. And you get good headshots on them. You don't really damage the meat at all. Why a mod then? What do you mean by that? The CZ in the middle. Yeah, the one with next to the stainless revolver. That's CZ. Hello from Illinois. How's Illinois going with your gun rights? I see that was all ruled in your favor. Yeah, 22 is a great round to plink with. We shoot Steel Challenge. It's a PCR down there, correct? PCR is the police check service pistol. So a little different rules for them, but if you're a law enforcement officer in the Czech Republic, that's the firearm you carry. It's based off of the CZ75 platform. It has a bush and barrel, fires 9mm, 15 round capacity. It has a pistol decocker. I don't have a Chris Vector. I have a CZ Scorpion. I have an MP5 clone. I have 3 different AR9s. One's a Colt, the other 2 I built. I think that's all I have for pistol caliber carbines in 9mm. I have a Thompson in 45. I have a H&K UMP in 45. Pistol caliber carbine, if you want to throw a lever gun in there, I have a Rossi 44 Magnum lever gun. Them are all pistol caliber carbines. Yeah, if you like CZs, I got a bunch of them. My last live, I had my Checkmates on here, which are race guns that we use. Well, 45 Magnum isn't a cartridge, it's 45 ACP. And 45 ACP is automatic Colt pistol is what it stood for. It's a PTR. So I've been trying to do like once a week for lives. I haven't done a lot of them. I'm really trying hard to get my play hours up. What's the goofy looking one at the bottom next to the AK? The pistol on the bottom, the very bottom, I assume that's what you're talking about. It's a what is it, a Taurus Spectrum? Or Spectre? It's a Spectrum, it's a 380. That was my mom's CCW. When she passed away, I took that. I've never shot it. She shot it, she liked it. It's just something I own. No, that's a Chinese protein AK. It's pretty much the rarest Chinese AK you're gonna get. They brought less than 8,000 of them into the country. It's protein. Protein stands for People's Republic of China export. So the company got in big trouble because it was owned by the Chinese Communist government, and the military was importing firearms into the United States for sale to American citizens. So a foreign military was importing firearms and then selling them to the American public. Uh, that didn't go on very long. They brought less than 8,000 of them into the country. Almost every one of them was purchased for the movie industry. And to this day, a lot of the AKs you see in more popular movies are still the protein type 56 AK-47. Yeah, I imagine they are. I mean, they're still being manufactured and imported. Uh, in the late 80s, there was a shooting in California, um, and they imposed a small arms embargo against China. Uh, so all the Chinese military firearms were not able to be imported anymore. Uh, the Beretta Performance X. So let me ask you this. Are you planning on doing any competition shooting? That's where the Beretta, I guess, kind of shines. If you're left-handed, a Beretta is not the firearm for you. I own a couple, and the way the trigger transfer bar works, for me being left-handed, it breaks my grip on the gun. So there would be better options. D-Dog, I did see you. I'm glad you jumped in. And yeah, I got my Evil 26 out. I had a Glock on a table with a CZ. I'm pretty sure there's something, a sin with that. Okay. So 5 to 700 translate to American exchange rate. So yeah, it's fair. I mean, a lot of the AKs now in the States are over that mark. So why are you set on the Beretta? Let me ask you that. And you can answer simply enough because it's cool and that's what you want. I understand that. I have lots of guns that just look cool. Um, but I'm just curious. I'm curious why you're leaning towards a Beretta. No, nothing's for sale. These are just guns out of my safe. My last live, I had a lot of people ask me about home defense guns or concealed carry guns, and I had a lot of questions because I didn't have an AK out if I owned an AK. So I promised that my next live would have an AK. If you want to see these in any more detail, I did a short, I don't know, an hour or so ago, where I showed the guns a little bit better. On lives, I can't show them. I can't handle them at all. Yeah, I don't blame you. And if fanboys is the what you want to stay away from, have you ever looked at any CZ firearms? Or if D Dog's still on here, he's a big fan of the Canics. I personally, I'd buy a Glock over a Sig. As far as the RXM, I haven't seen one in person. I haven't handled one. Um, if you guys want another channel, check out Patriot Arms 80. He just did a review on the RXM. The PO7's a great firearm. I mean, bang for your buck. You're getting something decent there. Yeah, if that's the first gun that got you intrigued, use it as just that. Get into firearms. You got to kind of learn what you do and what you don't like, and the only way to learn that is to spend time with it, right? I mean, you have a girlfriend, you think she's the best thing on earth, and she spends the night 3-4 nights in a row, and suddenly you're like, man, get out of here, go home, erase my number. I think Beretta has that new one, the Centurion. I think that's a great option. Ammo Alchemist, the most persecuted channel on YouTube. I'm glad to see you. How are you doing? Did you get your test done yet? Are you still working on that? Yeah, P10s are nice too. They're, I mean, bang for the buck. They're a great buy. Somebody wants to stay away from a Glock, then that's probably the gun to go with. Yeah, I don't own any P10s. I should. I don't. I have a couple SPO1s. One's a tactical, so it's got a decocker. I have their SPO1 competition. I have a Shadow 2. I have a Tactical Sport Orange in 9mm. I have a Tactical Sport Orange 2 in 9mm, a Tactical Sport Orange 2 in 40, and then I have 2 Checkmates. That's my CZ collection. And then I have CZ Scorpion carbine. A lot of people like the Rival S. That's that steel frame. Yeah, I think they are too. I should probably buy a couple. I should just buy them to have them. Yes, sir. They're all real. Well, it makes sense why that's what you would want. A Glock is a good utilitarian firearm. I mean, yeah, there's a Glock 26 down there. That's my daily carry. No, I don't own any staccatos. D-Dog Tactical is the guy to talk to. He's on here about Volcanics. He's got more experience with them than I do. I'm not a big fan of them. I just, for me, it's I don't care for the firearm. I'm sure if I took it and spent time with it on the range, it would probably grow on me, especially the amount of positive reviews people give them. I'm sure there's something there to it. I don't know. You do absolutely see a Type 56. That's a Pro-Chain. Yeah, it's my carry gun. I shoot it occasionally. I'm accurate with it to about 12 yards, which is all I really need it for. That's my third one I've owned. I own the Gen 3, I own the Gen 4, and I own the Gen 5 now. My Gen 4 I gave to my son 2 years ago now for Christmas, and I should really trade him back. That gun I carried for, I don't know, over 10 years, so it was smooth. It was, worn into me. Yeah, that stock is the way to go. So I can't, well, what guns I have or what guns are on the table. That's kind of two different things. So the PCR, I bought it and I thought I would really enjoy carrying it, and I have carried it on occasion. I will. I carry it with a Win. No, it's not a PSA. It's a Chinese Pro-Chain Type 56. So I started carrying it in waistband, and there's a lot of sharp edges on it. And over time, absolutely them would wear in and not be so rough or aggressive. But I don't know. I like the gun. That was actually my very first CZ firearm I owned. I bought that the same time I bought my Gen 5 Glock 26. And I almost didn't buy my Glock. I liked it. I liked the way it fit. I liked the way it felt. Um, I bought it, and after that, I started looking at a lot of CZs. Now I own quite a few of them. All right, so on the table, obviously the far left is the Type 56 AK-47, and that's actually a AK-47. It's not a AKM. It's a Prochin, People's Republic of China, 7.62 by 39. On the top, there's the other long gun there. It's a KSG 12. Obviously 12 gauge, it's bullpup, 14 round capacity. On the right hand side is a early Bushmaster carbine. I have it set up like my carry rifle used to be with the Surefire, was it M955, the aim point optic, the rail, that was, other than barrel length and third pin, that was what I carried. The tan gun in the middle of the rifles is just a palmetto dagger. That is the first and only palmetto product I've purchased, and I won't be purchasing more. Underneath that, there's a black revolver. That black revolver is a Smith & Wesson Bodyguard. It holds 5 rounds. It's a double action only with an internal hammer. It has a laser on the right-hand side, and I changed the grip to a whole grip, so I have a full grip. That gun works great in a vehicle, or like when I still rode a lot on my bike, I'd keep it in my vest pocket. Underneath that, the semi-auto with the white-gray colored grips is a CZ-PCR 9mm. The gun next to that, the stainless one, is a Taurus 627. It's a 7-shot 357 Magnum. That's actually my home defense gun. Underneath that, the little mini one is a stainless. It's a North American Arms 22 long rifle. On the left-hand side of that is a Taurus Spectrum that actually belonged to my mom, who passed away. The very bottom of the table is a Glock 43X, and then on the right-hand side of that is a Gen 5 Glock 26. Them are the guns. Yeah, actually, a lot of times, um, especially when I still rode uh, with where I used to ride, that was usually something I would keep in my jean pocket, in the like the hidden change pocket. Now you don't hear much about Bushmaster anymore, but back in the day, they were the top dog. If you wanted a good quality AR, you bought a Bushmaster. There wasn't a lot of options out there, um, and so that was it. I don't care for the dagger, and it's a cheap gun. I bought it for my middle son for his birthday, and what we found is the chamber is out of tolerance on it, and it bulges the brass on it like extremely bad. Yes, the answer to that. It bulges the brass, and I tried to talk to Palmetto. I sent him about a dozen emails, and I left voicemail messages, and they never responded. The barrel's out of spec. We don't shoot it after we realized what was going on, and it was bulging the brass to the point of you were waiting for actually a burst piece of brass. And I could buy a barrel, but we paid, was it, I think it was a little over $200 for it. That was when they first came out. So we hang on to it. Uh, my middle son has stated as he gets older, that's something he'll keep in his car. If it gets stolen, it gets stolen. But you know, so Palmetto, man, they have the potential to be a great company. No, I'm not Canadian. Why would you ask that? Uh, they have the opportunity to be a great company, and they're they're really trying to push out firearms, and they're trying to push out affordable firearms. However, the problem with that is they have poor quality control. And if it's not poor quality control, their standards or specs that they're allowing for these firearms is sloppy. They're loose. So they're filling a niche to being able to get some stuff and having it being budget friendly. But with poor quality, it just turns people off. Eventually, this is going to catch up to them. There's no way it's not. It's caught up with every manufacturer out there. You know, their quality standards need to be improved. They need to be putting out quality firearms, not just affordable firearms. I'm not sure what the Vector CP1 is. Yeah, they like I said, they do have a way of getting the stuff out there, and they have a way of getting the stuff out there that everybody wants. I mean, everybody wants a good American made AK, good American made AK and 300 blackout. They want all the configurations that, are next to impossible to get. The stuff like their Jackal, or they were supposed to be putting out some HK clone type firearms. Them all fell off the market. Their pistols, I mean, it wouldn't cost them that much more to have better quality control to put out good daggers, but they don't. They put out a cheapest thing they can, and because they're keeping the cost down, they have loose tolerances, which allow them to put out crap. The AK is a Type 56. It's a Prochin. It was imported in the late 80s. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. 5,000 rounds or barrels are smoked. They're budget friendly to get you in the door. What I will say about their firearms is, if you want to check out a platform, be it an AK or an AR or a pistol, that gets you in the door cheap enough that you can go out and try it and determine what you do and what you don't like, if it's the platform for you, and then invest into something a little bit nicer. The Century Arms, the Wasser 10s are, I mean, they're classic. There was an time there where they were having a lot of quality control issues, but they were trying to get them out. I have a Century Arms Wasser 10. Been a great gun. I don't know how many rounds are through, probably 10, 12,000 by this point. I have a couple Zastava AKs. Them are nice. I have a Sega 12. If it's just the screws in them, drop some wood glue in it. That'll tighten it back up. But yeah, if the wood has gotten sloppy on there, then time to get some new wood. If it's just the fitment inside of the receiver, like your buttstock, what works, and I've done this for customers in the past, was I just put small screws in there, and it act like a shim. So you set them in deep enough that when you inserted the stock, I can't show it today, I can show them next time. But basically, it's like adding a shim to the gun, and that tightened them up for the people. They were happy. What's going on, Thomas Field? Well, I'm not sure what you mean. You made a SMG out of a pistol on eBay. Yeah, that's my idea. That's what I was just saying too. They're great if, number one, if your budget dictates that, and it's also great to, if you want to experiment on a platform. But there's better guns out there for the same money, or slightly more. I appreciate it, Tom. I know what an SBR is, so explain more how you made an SBR. Get good here. I haven't played with the Walther PDPs yet. I've looked at them, I haven't bought one. A lot of people like Walthers. I have a Walther P22. That was in the first batch that were imported in 2002. Mine was still made in Germany. If you look at any of them now, they're all made in the United States. Smith & Wesson purchased Walther. Mine was still made by Walther in Germany. No, that's not the Black Widow. The Black Widow is a 22 Magnum, and it obviously has the black rubber grip on it. That's just a standard North American Arms. Yeah, I like the Walther P22. For me, being left-handed, when them came in the country, there was no left-hand friendly 22s that were on the market. Now there's a bunch of them, but like I said, we're talking back in 2002. So when that came in, it was kind of a mind blown that I could actually pick up a firearm. I could release the magazine. I could function as safety. So I bought one. Mine came with both barrels. I don't think they do anymore, but I got both barrels with it. Patriot Arms, I was just talking about you. Guy was asking about the RXM, and I suggested that they come to your channel for your review. So, okay. So what exactly did you print? Quality should come first. Everybody has gotten into everything budget friendly. You go buy a brand new car and it looks great, and that car is a pile of shit in just a few years. I want to buy quality. I want things that hold up. I don't want to buy things 4, 5, 6 times because I saved a couple dollars on it. You're a blacksmith, huh? Rubbish. I guess that's your channel name there. How are you doing? Yes, that's a Type 56. It's real deal AK-47. It's a Pro-Chin. It was a Chinese import. I don't know so much about Smith & Wesson, but Ruger still makes good firearms. That's a good American company. They care about their customers. They got decent service. They are what they are. Yeah, and that's the thing. Your Beretta that you're interested in, that would definitely be something that would stand the test of time. They're great for that. Yeah, everything I shoot is left-handed. I'm left-handed, left-eye dominant. I can shoot right-handed, but it's not comfortable, so I don't do it. I own a few left-handed firearms. I have a couple left-handed AR-15s. I have a couple left-handed bolt-action rifles that I use for long range or for when I did hunt. And I think that's got to be weird. So do you just use your left eye when you're shooting then with your dots? Or do you squint a little? I don't know what the WLVRN is, but it's a KSG-12. I don't know what DBS is either. You'll have to specify that. I think being ambidextrous is probably the way to go. I disagree. You can absolutely shoot 2 guns at a time. That's why God gave us 2 hands. And if you want to shoot a lot, this is a big thing when people say spend all your money on mags and range time and ammo. If you have one gun that you're gonna use exclusively and extensively, then you should probably have a backup. Any of the guns I use a lot, my competition guns, I have backup guns, and I've needed them lots. Bring straight up, my left eye catches the dot. It's a PCR. CZ PCR, and no, not the Omega. Same size platform, but that's the one that started the P10 line. My competition pistol was out last time. I can put them out again maybe next time, but I have a bunch of different ones depending on what division we're shooting. Enough to know it's what it is. Less than 29K. I'm not sure what you mean by that. It's even easier to shoot when the target is firing back as you get angry. So the gun I have for home defense, and that's why it's out here today, is the stainless steel little snubby 357. It's a 7-shot revolver. I keep it loaded, and it's been loaded for 20 years. I only unload it when either we're going to take it to a range or something else. Cooper. Thanks for keeping the dog out, Harley. Cooper, come here. Come here. See if I don't get a strike for that. Last time my dog came out like that, I ended up getting a strike. Go. Oh, let's see. My most expensive knife. I don't have very expensive knives. My Boker Jim Wagner is probably my most expensive. Yeah. They said it was handling. Yeah, we didn't see any. I'm not sure what a Kate 557 is. Yeah, hit the like button. Thanks, Patriot. So the Spectrum, that was my mom's gun. When she passed away, I took it. She bought it for herself to be able to carry concealed. She liked it. She carried it. She shot it. I have never shot it. I have never carried it. So that's that. Well, okay, if that's what you believe, feel free to think that, but it's a aim point. It's the actual M68 that was an issued optic. That was my issued optic. The M955 Surefire, that was my issued flashlight. So I don't have a real opinion on Holliston. It's not something I'm, no, it was medical. I got blown up. D-Dog's on here yet. He can tell you about Holliston. He keeps telling me that's the way to go. I don't have experience with them, so I'm not going to lie to you and give you an opinion that's not mine. But a lot of people seem to really like that optic. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody say it was bad, and or have I seen one fail or heard of one fail while we were out shooting matches. So that's something to be said. The Delta Point Pro. I don't know, D-Dog, what do you think? That's kind of your wheelhouse, not mine. If you guys, hey man, since you guys are all watching here and you see the name D-Dog Tactical there, do me a solid. Go to his channel and hit his subscribe button. Same with you, Patriot Arms. Go to D-Dog Tactical's channel and hit his subscribe button. This dude's a solid guy, man. He's an incredible shooter. He's fast, he's agile, he's young. He's got a nice family. And he just, for whatever reason, his channel isn't getting the views it should. But he deserves it. If anybody deserves it, he deserves some real love and support. So, by all means, please check his channel out. I can't show any more on this live. This is what's out. We're not allowed to handle firearms. If you want to see these in better detail, there's a video on my channel that I dropped about an hour before I did this live that shows the guns a little bit better. If you want to see more stuff than this, I mean, I got some videos in my safe, and you'll see my Barrett. You'll see a lot of stuff there. I'm not sure next to what stock. I have a ZPAP. I have a ZPAP M85. I like the gun. It's a nice gun. AK stock. So next to the AK stock, there's the revolver. That's a 627 Taurus. And then on the very bottom one there, it's a Taurus Spectrum 380 that belonged to my mom. I can't pick it up and show you in any better detail. However, like I just said, I did a video about an hour before this live that shows it a little bit better. If you want to see it in more detail, I can do a short on it. I just can't show it any bit more now. D-Dog, Patriot, hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate you, too. You'll both dig each other, man. Both of you got some really good channels. It's always cool to chat and get in with you guys on a conversation. D-Dog, you need to start doing some lives. Just let me know when you're going to do it, because I'll catch you for sure. Taurus, it's interesting because they're not the best firearms, but they're not the worst. They have a great warranty. Yes, I did my time. But they're kind of a good entry-level budget firearm that works. So I won't dog on Taurus. There's a lot of things that are better, but if somebody's just getting out and getting started, there's some things that they work on, that they work for. Navy guy, huh? Squibs are all right, right? Everybody likes their squid. Guys are a little weird though when you're all alone, especially when you get over that equator, right? Well, like I keep telling Ammo Alchemist, don't be afraid to give him a little melatonin. You know, you can get away with NyQuil a couple times a week. GWOC, I don't know what GWOC is. GWAT was the Global War on Terror. That was the blanket that was used for Afghanistan, Iraq, and other places. Just like the dog. Get in there. No, I'm just joking with you, D-Dog. I know it's tough. Temazepam. That's a muscle relaxer, isn't it? Temazepam. That one sounds familiar to me. Or it's not a muscle relaxer. Isn't that it's like Valium. I think I had an MRI not that long ago and they gave me some. I think pretty sure it's Valium. I could be wrong. You have to tell me. Yeah, it's a benzo. It's a Valium, right? can't. So the retro builds are cool, but I hate to admit it, it's not really a retro when that's the original rifle setup. Yeah. The really small one is a North American Arms 22. So the KSG, it depends on what you're shooting through it. Um, if you're just shooting like number 8 shot, uh, field loads, birdshot, it's not bad. If you're shooting slugs or buckshot, just like any shotgun, it's got a thump. It does have a little rubber butt pad, so that helps a little bit with the recoil. But it's, I don't know. My middle son liked it, and I went to a store a few times, and he kept looking at it, picking it up, so I bought it. He went out, he went out, and we burnt up a whole ton of some buckshot I had, and he shot a bunch of slugs. I'm like, all right, your balls are growing a little bit, they're dropping. So I got out some turkey loads, and he fired 2 turkey loads and hasn't shot the gun since. I don't really want to block anybody or kick them off the channel, but that's a great way to get booted, isn't it? It'd be cool if, so you can put different choke tube in it, but it'd be cool if they had uh, like a magna port on it, so you'd have a ported barrel. I think, I don't know, maybe a little too close to the face, but now this one, it's not an M16 because it's not a military issue rifle. It's semi-auto, so it's technically it's still an AR-15, but a bunch of the stuff on there was my stuff. Yeah, they put different muzzle brakes and comps on them, and they work. They help with recoil. I'll say the KSG it's an interesting firearm, and the people at Kel-Tec, you hear a lot of people say, man, these guys must be doing blow at 3 in the morning designing these firearms, and I won't disagree with that. But what I will say is they're actually trying to do innovative stuff. They're not trying to use a cookie cutter and put out the same stuff everybody else is. And a lot of their products I'm not interested in owning or whatever. The KSG is kind of cool. I wish the KSG, so it has two fed magazines, holds 14 rounds total. Uh, I think that's what it is. So yeah, but to go from one magazine tube to the other, you manually have to flip it. I would love to see it go one tube dry, maybe have an auto setting so it would automatically switch and feed the other tube. That would be a great thing. The gun would be more serviceable than KSG or 870. I think they're kind of a different niche. So 870 is more practical. I think you can do a lot more to it to make it a defensive firearm. The KSG is kind of what it is. I watch a lot of gun channels. Like you heard me saying here already, I point out Ammo Alchemist, he was in here, D-Dog, Patriot Arms, and I'm sure there'll be some other guys jumping in at some point. If you have a gun tube channel, when I end this live, I have no way going back and looking at any of these comments. But if you have a video and you want me to check your video out, jump in my channel, leave me a comment in any video, preferably the last video posted. Tell me you were in my live. I will go to your channel and I'll check it out. You hit my subscribe button, I'll definitely hit yours, right? I don't have any experience with the 457. I do have a guy I know that owns one, and he keeps showing me target. He's shooting some phenomenal groups with it. Absolutely go on my channel. Like I said, leave a comment. That way I can find your channel. If you don't do that, I don't have any way of getting back to you. But when you leave a comment, I'll go in my comments. I'll click your name. I'll go to visit channel, and I'll check out your video. You'll know I'm there. I leave comments. And guys who show me support, I'll show you support. You know, the AK is approaching. It's a Type 56. The AR-15 is a Bushmaster. It's an early Bushmaster. I appreciate it. Like I said, though, make sure you leave the comment in a video so I can find your channel. That's one thing that I noticed on my first live is a lot of people that I had great interaction with, and I wanted to be able to go back and show them support, and I have no way of going back and seeing the comments. They don't display after I end the live. Even if I go back and watch live, I can't, none of these comments are shown. The silver gun, the snubby, I assume you mean the bigger of the two. The bigger of the two is a Taurus 627. It's a 357/38 special. It holds seven round capacity. The very little one there, it's a North American Arms 22. Joe Fred Ramirez, hey man, I appreciate that. I think you're the first one to ever do that, to be completely honest. Thank you. Unexpected. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Let's see. Yeah, it's just a little 22. I got asked in my last live a lot about carry guns and what I carry, and so a lot of the pistols you see up here are things I've carried or I use for defense. The Spectrum, like I said already, that's not something I would carry. That belonged to my mom. The Glock 43X I bought to check it out because it was supposed to be a hot platform. I'm not impressed with it. I prefer my Glock 26 out of what's up here. That's my general carry gun every day. Yeah, that's a KSG 12. Reason feel my feet is full of gangsters shooting with bad aim. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Yeah, so the North American, it's small enough, man, that even if not to be funny or anything else, but I used to carry it in my jeans in your little spare change pocket, that little fifth pocket. So even when I went places I shouldn't have a firearm, I at least had that on me. And there was a couple different times through whatever interactions I got frisked, and they patted right over it. They didn't even feel it. So is it something you're going to be offensive with? No. But if it's something you and I are nose to nose with, or I'm on the ground, it's going to put one through you, and that's better than not. Glocks they're a workhorse, you know. I'll admit I shit on them sometimes, and I don't shit on them because they're bad firearms. I shit on them because a lot of people feel that there's something other what they are. They're a great service pistol. They're a great utilitarian firearm. But a plain Jane Glock isn't something I want to see in every single video on YouTube. It's not something I want to see people thinking that it's something special. It's a great utilitarian firearm. For somebody that wants something for carry, for home defense, for hiking, even for competition shooting, it's a great firearm. But at the end of the day, it's a budget firearm. It's not a $2,000 gun. It's a utilitarian, and that's what makes it a utilitarian firearm, is the fact it's affordable. You know, we see a lot of things like High Points now and Palmetto State Armory daggers and all these other things, and they're entry-level firearms. That's what a Glock was. It was an entry-level firearm, you know. Yeah, they are what they are, you know, and I'm not going to bang on them. Uh, my wife pointed out to me a while ago some of the stuff that I had when I first started out collecting guns. I mean, my first few guns, I had a Tech 9, I had a Tech 22, I think Ruger 1022 I still have. I had a Winchester 1300 and an SKS. That was like the first, you know, half dozen firearms I had. High point is absolutely the new Glock. That's what it is. And I could dog on high point, right? Everybody could. But at the end of the day, they work. You know, their warranty is exceptional. They don't give two shits what you did to it. If it breaks, they fix it. I mean, there's something to be said for that. It's, you know, a $200 firearm that they work, you know. Would you want to carry it? No. Would you want to use it for home defense? No, not necessarily, but it'll work if you do. For somebody, you know, who has a very limited resources and they need a firearm, they're in danger, they're fearful, they're, you know, whatever it is, it's better than nothing, you know. And if all else fails, tie a shoestring onto it like a lanyard, you just beat a motherfucker with it, you know. Some of the new high points that have come out, I'm not going to say I'm interested in them, but at least they're starting to be innovative. I mean, they have threaded barrels, they have um, optics ready, you know, even the grips. So the company's made a point of being able to get firearms to those that need them, and a lot of people buy them because they're cheap, and with that, they end up getting into other firearms. Yeah, 11.5 is seems to be what a lot of people like. That's what the FBI uses now, I believe, is 11.5 or 11.3, one of them two. Um, I like 10.3 or 10.5, but I think the 11.5 is probably a little bit better. Has a little longer dwell time, so the firearm cycle's a little bit better. Um, they're a little not as violent, you know, in the cycling of the firearm, especially when you start adding cans. You know, you get a lot of extra back pressure and wear and tear on it. But so did you change the barrel to make it a 30 cal barrel? I have a ZPAP 85 too, and mine is still the 5.56. So I think the only way you would have been able to convert that is to change the barrel. Yeah, barrel shop. Who made your barrel for it? Does it run well? I would suspect 8.5 on a 300 blackout probably runs pretty decent. Piston driven, probably pretty quiet, huh? A little chunky from the action, but I assume too, you if you went through the route of changing it, you probably made it an SBR. If any of you guys are just jumping in, hit that thumbs up like button, and do me a favor. You'll see D-Dog Tactical on here. Go to his channel, check him out, give him a subscribe. Patriot Arms, he's on here too. He's another good guy. And we have Ammo Alchemist. Ammo Alchemist, the most persecuted channel on YouTube. I'm not sure what you mean pistols, rifles. So like AK pistols, AR pistols. Ammo Alchemist is your stalker in a bad way or a good way? He's a good dude, man. Funny as hell. You know, I got a lot of respect for him. Yeah, good way. So the rifles with no butt stocks. They serve a purpose. I have a old Bushmaster carbine 15 type 97, and they bought the company from oh I can't think of it, but they bought this company, and part of their product line was these short AR pistols, and they started manufacturing these AR pistols for armed transport, like armored cars. So it enabled them to be able to shoot and maneuver in an armored vehicle, not military armor, but armored type cars for transport and money. They created these guns for these guys to be able to use. So in the right setting or with the right application, they're viable. Um, Now with our pistol braces being legal, a pistol brace is almost better than an SBR, with the exception of if you never leave the state. If you leave the state, you can have an AR pistol and you can have a brace on it, and you're legal in a lot of places where an SBR is hard to transport over state lines. There's a lot of law enforcement notification that you have to do. It's it's not as easy. Yeah, I don't have a ton of revolvers, and I definitely need to work on some more suppressors. Um, I need to get one for my daughter. Uh, Help her shoot some of these guns. Um, I need one for the UMP I have, the 45 caliber UMP. That'd be a great gun to suppress. I just never have. Not sure what is. Why haven't I showed what? Oh, the UMP. I have. It's been in other videos. That's not something we shoot very much. I have a 416 too that I got in 2012 when they were being imported. Real 416 semi-auto, but it's marked HK 416. I don't show that one either. They just sit in the back of the safe. Marcelino Lima. I'm not sure what you're saying, man. Um, I'm not even sure what language that is. I'd assume Spanish. Uh, I have to translate. I don't have any ability to translate in the chat here. I have a MP5 clone. I have a PTR 16-inch barrel. I picked that up. My daughter will be using that this year for Steel Challenge. I've had a lot of issues with AR9s and out of battery detonations, so I don't really want to give her that, one of them. So I picked up that MP5. I figure that with some 147s should cycle pretty well. I was gonna grab that today too. I had it, and instead, because I had to move the KSG to get to it, I had the KSG. But I'll put that out next time. There's a video of us shooting it when I first got it. I mean, we didn't do anything real extensive. It was right at the end of the season. I think it was one of the last. Well, it was the last time we went out shooting um, outdoors. It shot all right. It shoots decent groups. Um, the trigger is kind of but they make triggers for them. I just haven't messed with it. Yeah, a lot of people are getting into the 48s and the 45s. Uh, I have a CZ Scorpion. I have a bunch of videos with it. Um, I got this carbine. It's something I picked up for Steel Challenge. I have a Timney trigger in it. I changed the grip to an HB Industries. I love the gun. I changed the recoil spring to it's a plus 125%. It turned the gun into something worth shooting. Um, you have to define what was all worth it. Yeah, the PTR 91. I think that's what model it is. But yeah, the Scorpion, biggest improvement I did was changing that recoil spring. And I mean, it was a night and day difference. It turned something into just kind of to now it's actually a fun gun to shoot. I have to change my barrel in mine. I have a bulged barrel in it right now. I have the barrel here. I just haven't bought the socket to change it. I mean, it's kind of winter time. That's least of my priorities. So, but when I noticed the barrel was bulged, I bought a new barrel for it right away. Yeah, it would work. Well, check them out. A lot of them are just shooting videos of different competitions. I have the sound trends I use when my channel starts getting suppressed. I'll use some of these popular sound trends just to push the stuff again and keep the channel alive. Um, it's a nice shooting rifle, actually, for what it is. It's got an incredible finish on it. Uh, Everything on it's tight. It's got a decent trigger. It's never malfunctioned. It's it's probably more accurate than me with iron sights, but we'll shoot plates at 200 yards with it, steel plates, and we'll shoot plates out at 336 yards. And I just don't have any success past that with that rifle. And I'm sure it's not the rifle, it's just me. But the gun shoots, it runs great. It's got a chrome lined bore, so it cleans up real easy. Um, yeah, that'd be a cool little setup. Uh, I keep thinking I want to do one of them too, but my little ARP I have that I use the most, built on a left-handed upper receiver, is a 10.3. You know, considering what an AR is, them little barreled ones, they're violent. You know, they really throw that bolt around, but they're cool. They're fun. It's probably if I only had one AR, or if I had to choose one AR, it would be something short, 10.5, 11.5, somewhere in there, 10.3. Um, I think it's a very usable rifle. Maybe not such a long distance rifle, you know, much past 300 yards. But if it was your intent to have something for defensive use, that's probably the way to go. You know, either a LVPO or a red dot and a magnifier. Knight's Armament's good stuff. Pricey, but they make good stuff. You have any of their suppressors? 16 works. Honestly, with I can't say for that PCSL or whatever, but for three gun, I went with the 18-inch. That seemed like the best barrel for me. They shoot a little bit flatter than the 16. Um, so for that, I like the 18-inch. I have never shot an AK-12. I have never seen an AK-12 in person. Yeah, I mean, they like to suppress channels. So, no, they're not available for civilians. There's very few of them even in the United States. Yeah, so the 11.5 is perfect for you. Um, Especially if you throw your can on it. I mean, it's not going to quiet it down, but it's going to at least make it a little bit more manageable, right? I don't know if you have one on yours, but on mine I have a adjustable gas block. I get it. Especially when you start looking at a firearm collection, you realize how much money is there or tied up in things that you're not using. I don't generally sell firearms. I don't generally trade firearms in. It's rare. The smallest one on the bottom there, the stainless one, is a North American Arms. It's a 5-shot revolver. It's a belly gun. You want to be up and close. Uh, they're not very accurate. They're a little weird to shoot. But if you were someplace and that's all you had, or someplace and that's all you could carry because of the size, it will work. Anyone says I was just 22, you're going to the hospital, man. And if you got to go to the hospital, there's going to be a police report. So, however that works. That JLE, did you go to my main channel and leave a comment on one of the videos so I can hit your channel out? Do you have? You said ammo stalks you. Do you have a bunch of? You gotta have stuff posted. So if you only have one AR and you're not leaving your state, then a 16-inch would be a good starting point. If you want to do paperwork, I like 10.5, 10.3. The FBI went to an 11.5. So if you're not leaving the state, I said it backwards. If you're not leaving the state and you don't mind doing the paperwork, go with something shorter. If you're leaving your state, then you probably don't want to do SBR. Any NFA paperwork gets complicated leaving the state. You have to notify law enforcement stuff that you're going to be going through their area with a registered NFA item. So if you just want your first AR and you don't know what one to get a 16-inch. That's the way to go. If you want to shoot accuracy and precision with it, go 20-inch. If you want the best of the three worlds, go to an 18-inch. If you want to put a brace on it so you can transport over state lines with no additional paperwork, then go something short. Where do you live, Ian? Is it Ian or Ian? Ian, I think. Ian. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the firearm laws are in South Africa. Yeah, we don't, for private sales, we don't have to do any paperwork either. Just your normal 468 when you purchase a firearm from a dealer. But buying and selling, there's no paperwork for private sales, and there's no additional paperwork for anything manufactured at home, and we have no firearm registration. So I think Idaho's kind of the same rules as we are. Yeah. Mark 12, that's Daniel Defense. No, that's Mark 18's Daniel Defense. I'm not sure who makes the Mark 12. 300 blackout. Is that D-Dog? You still here? Is the Mark 12 Daniel Defense too? I have no clue. Yeah, I don't either. You know, there's so many varieties in firearms and manufacturers that pick up product lines and drop them. You know, as much as I enjoy firearms and a mod H, yeah, I I can only speak to what I have or have experience with. Well, I'd like to have some fun too. If it were warm outside, I definitely wouldn't be sitting here doing a live. I'd be at the range. Um, that's what I do, or I go riding. My kids are all shooting age now, so I've really focused a lot on getting them out to the range and getting them out shooting competition. Um, I have no knowledge of anything that way. I haven't stayed up real high on Daniel Defense products. I own one, um, and that's just because of how the deal worked out that I got it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't even own that one. Yeah, Mark 12 is made by Colt. Colts are nice. The old Colts are, I should say, the newer stuff that's made by CZ now. They're okay. I keep looking at them. Yeah, I have a lot of both. 'Cause I don't get rid of stuff. I have a lot of things that have gotten me to where I am. You know, now when I buy a firearm, uh, number one, I used to own a shop, so I had access to everything. And one of my things was I built a lot of competition guns. So I had no problems with buying something with the intent of turn it into something else. Now I don't want to do that. I'll spend a little bit extra money and I'll get what I want. Uh, I don't want to have to mess with triggers. I I don't really want to have to change sights. You know, I will and I do, but I'd rather just spend a little more upfront and have something that's worth it for no other reason, so that later on when I'm dead, my guns can have a gun. Have something worth money, right? If I buy a Glock and I rebuild this Glock, I change the barrel, I put sights on it, I do trigger work, I change everything else, I stipple it. It's still just a Glock. That's all it's ever going to be. That's what it's worth. If I go buy a Zev, it's a Zev. I don't have to do any of the work, and the value is still there for the firearm. So, like you're saying, for me, I'll buy the quality now over a quantity. I try to shoot a lot of different varieties platforms. That was one of my past lives. Uh, I have different things I shoot more than others, but I can pick up any gun and shoot it okay. Um, any of the major platforms out there, I'm very familiar with. It doesn't matter if it's a belt fed or what. I have experience with them. Um, for me, having kids, it's cool to take things out that, number one, a lot of people in their life will never actually see in person, but then to let them play with it, kind of gives them a variety of many different platforms as you can, so that someday they can decide what they like and why. Any experience with high powers? You don't see too much with high powers anymore. I used to have one of their high power pistols, 22 semi-automatic. I don't remember what model it was. It was their target model, and it shot. It was a great shooting gun. I mean, I think I had it maybe 10, 15 years ago. So a gun was 50, 60 years old already at that time, and it shot phenomenal still. Oh, are you talking the Brown and high powers? I think I read that wrong. Chris Vector that I made is my baby. So I don't sell very much. The last two guns I got rid of in the last 3 years, one was a Spanish sent me, and I bought it just to have a full size delayed roller firearm, a battle rifle 308, and the gun was horrible. I mean, it was shooting like a 12-inch group at 100 yards, and that was on a good day if I could get it on paper. And I tried a variety of ammunition. I tried different loads that I loaded, different bullet weights, different bullet cartridge overall lengths, and the gun just didn't shoot. I traded it. I got rid of it. And then, I don't know, a couple months ago, I had a Winchester 94. It was chambered in 32 special. It was a pre-64 model. And Orange Smoke, how are you doing? It's good to see you jump in. And I traded that in on a gun. I had it for, I think, about 12 years. I had ammunition for it. I never once took it out of my safe, nor did I have any intention to it. So I traded it in on something just to free up the space. They look out of the future now, but think back to when the AR-15 came out and how futuristic that looked. You know, an aluminum firearm with plastic furniture. I can only tell you what I have for experience. Um, so you'd have to go to other channels or other people that have, safe reviews. But any safe is better than no safe. I haven't had any issue with the KSG. We don't have a ton of rounds through it. My middle son had a fetish for it, so I bought it, and we went out shooting it a few different times, and he dug it, and then we got him worked up to some slugs and buckshot, and he handled that like a trooper. And then I broke out some turkey loads, and he fired a couple turkey rounds, and he hasn't shot the gun since. I kind of dug it because it's a bottom feed, bottom eject, so being left-handed, it was something that I was able to shoot. The only thing I don't like about the firearm is the fact that you have to manually select a lever in order to change the tubes. So when you run one tube empty, it doesn't switch over to the other tube. So you'll get, unless you're counting rounds, you'll get a click. If that had an automatic switch over where you could shoot one tube and it would automatically switch to the opposite tube and feed that one, it would be an incredible firearm. But it doesn't. If they would change that, it would be a very popular firearm. I think it's kind of a novelty being, so you have a lot of capacity until the gun runs dry, but it's a hard firearm. For me, it's a more difficult firearm to load. It's awkward. And then again, with having to switch to whatever tube you want to run, that's kind of takes it out of being a real fighting gun. I missed whatever comment was on there. DBS. I don't know what a DBS is. Yeah, man. Like I said, you go to my channel, leave a comment, so I can see it. Do the last video up there, just short, and I'll come to your channel. I'll watch your content. I have no problem with that. It gives me something to do. And the people that show me support, I come in your videos and I will show you support. Um, no, the shotgun is a KSG 12. Yeah. I hear a lot of people talk about different issues they have with Kel-Tec. I don't have a lot of experience with them, um, but what I have here works. Well, post content. I don't really talk with Pistol Pete. I'm subscribed to his channel. I catch his lives for a few minutes. Um, but ammo, I talked quite a bit. So having people see what you have is kind of a double-edged sword. I started out this channel, it wasn't to show what I have, it was to highlight what firearms can be used for. I enjoy shooting with my kids, I enjoy shooting different competitions, and I saw nothing but negativity around firearms. Not only how people perceived them, but how they were being used. And you see all these people saying, oh, an AR-15 isn't good for this. You can't use an AK-47 for that. I wanted to show that you can, and you can have fun with it. And because of that, I show a lot of different guns. Now, y'all been sitting here, you see the firearms on the table. Have any of these guns jumped up, loaded themselves, ran down the street, and performed a violent act? They're tools. Any tool needs an operator. You can't blame a tool for somebody making poor decisions. I carry a Glock 26. That's primarily what I carry, and that's the bottom right hand side. It's a Gen 5. I carried the Gen 3, I carried the Gen 4, I carried the Gen 5. I started carrying back in early 2000 when I was able to. So I've carried every one of them. I have the Glock 43. You know, that was latest, greatest thing. A lot of people seem to like it. I don't like it. I actually own two of them. I bought one for every day and then one for just shooting, going and burning down. And I shot the one that we're going to burn down, and it's not something I'm impressed with. I don't much care for the gun. Do you have an iPhone? Orange Smoke, do you have an iPhone? So if you have an iPhone, you can go in there and you can use a Clips or a movie creator app, and you can edit your videos out. Otherwise, if you just use your phone, you can do a general play on it. And I don't know. That's all I generally use. I have a couple cameras I bought, and I don't know. It's a lot of extra effort to try and edit out a video off of a camera. So I generally use just a phone. D-Dog has, I think he said Instapro 360, and some of the edits he's doing with that are pretty cool. So yeah, you're just a little older than me. I thought do you link that through your phone? Is that what you do with that Insta? Like I said earlier, you must have checked out there for a second. You'd have to go to a channel that's reviewed a bunch of safes. I only have experience with a few. Goes on your phone. You have an iPhone though, right? So there's a point of having stuff in a safe. And it's not so your kids aren't. My kids have the combination for every one of my safes. So does my wife. My firearms aren't in safes to keep them out of their hands. And it's not even so much if there were a burglar, right? It's what if there's a fire or a natural disaster. That's why they're in there. So very few firearms do I keep out. I keep my revolver out and loaded. That's, upstairs. My Bushmaster there, that sits outstairs only because with the grip on it, the flashlight, and the optic, it takes up a lot of room in the safe. So it sits out. Otherwise, everything I keep in a safe. That's just trying to be a responsible gun owner. Um, a lot of people don't. As I got older, uh, and I looked at my homeowner policy and I realized what they covered, and then with the add-on policies, what they cost, it makes sense to have a safe. It keeps everything together. Um, it, I don't know. That's just part of being a responsible gun owner. Yeah, that's why it's nice to have them in something that way. I mean, if anybody wants to get into a safe, they can, uh, but it just makes a lot of noise and it slows them down. So there's times I'll carry my bodyguard, and that's usually when I'm riding and I have my vest on. It fits real good in a leather pocket, but I'll still have my Glock on me. You know, there's a time and a place to have a revolver. Uh, so that's that. Oh, you saw the Barrett video with my son? As bad as that looked, what we were actually doing is I had to remount the optic. Um, the Barrett was a M82 deployment package setup, so it came with the factory or the Leupold Mark IV factory mounted, and it was too far forward. And so we were talking one day, and we busted that gun out so I could move the optic back. And what we were actually doing is we were looking down the street to check the eye relief, and I thought that would be funny, so that's what we did. The Dagger, uh, I don't have anything positive to say about it. Um, and I have even less positive things to say about Palmetto State and their warranty or their customer service. uh, yeah, depending on what it is, my wife doesn't even know if it's brand new. I can have the gun out for a week playing with it in front of her. And when I say playing, I mean working the action, working the trigger, magazine release, breaking the gun in here before I take it to the range. But 9 out of 10 times, she won't know something's new. So the Barrett I bought a few years ago when they weren't available, I contacted Barrett and asked about it because there was nothing available on the civilian market, and they told me it was going to be at least a 2-year wait. I looked around in the state I live in, and nobody had them. And in fact, when I asked people about them, they laughed and said, "Good luck with that." So I ended up finding one on Gunbroker. That was a deployment package rifle, uh, and it was a contract company that bought it, and it was never used. It was kept in an arsenal inventory. I bid and won the auction. Um, when I paid Gunbroker, I paid the shipping. Uh, I paid um, the insurance on the ship, and I paid the local background, or the not local background, the transfer through the firearms store I dealt with. It came in a couple dollars less than 12 grand. I had the option. I did find one M107 in the state, which shocked me, and that gun was 15 grand. And I would have had to buy an optic. So I had the option of my Barrett that I bought, which was a little bit under 12 grand. And we're talking like $11,995 or something. And then I would have, that came with the optic magazine. And then the other one was a couple grand more. So I made the choice to buy the cheaper one and win that auction and be able to buy some ammunition, a couple magazines. And then at that time is the same time I bought my Checkmate, my first one, and I bought that with the money I had left that I didn't spend on the Barrett M107. Yeah, they're expensive. You know, when I looked at the auctions, you could find. So this is the thing with them. You could find the 20-inch barreled ones. Uh, they call them the CQB version, but you lose velocity. You're buying a 50 cal rifle, and the whole reason you buy a 50 caliber rifle is to be able to reach out and touch something. And you not only want to be able to reach out and touch it, but you want to be able to poke a clean hole through whatever you're shooting through. So to go to a shorter barrel and to lose the long range effectiveness and or even the short range ability to penetrate hard surfaces didn't make sense to me. So I wanted the full 29-inch barrel uh, capable rifle. What does a Barrett round cost? They're about $5 a piece for the cheapest stuff you're going to find. And they go all the way up to well over $100 for a Rufus round. We generally pick up the PMC bronze, and for a box of 10, it comes out to $50. What do they call that Zosva? It had a name like Dark Angel or something like that. I looked at them. See, that was part of the reason I went with the Barrett. Let me explain this too. Is I'm left-handed, right? So all these bolt action rifles out there, the way the bolt works is it's right on my cheek. So I would have bought a bolt action 50 cal. I didn't necessarily want a Barrett. I wanted a Barrett because being a left-handed shooter, I could shoot it. Where all these single shots or magazine fed bolt actions, they're not really shootable for a left-handed person. I tried getting a Serbu, and I wanted their semi-auto. I don't recall what model that is. And I talked to Mark Serbu himself, and he told me there was a 2-year waiting list. I'm like, cool, put me on the waiting list. And he said, to be on the 2-year waiting list, there's a 2-year waiting list. I'm like, all right, so now we're looking at 4 years. Go ahead and put me on that list. Well, that was like 6 years ago, and I've never heard anything back from him. So, whatever that is. Yeah. So at the time too, I came across a couple of the Bushmaster 50 cal semi-auto rifles, and I really wanted to get one of them. The price was right on them. However, Bushmaster at that time was defunct. That was one of the businesses that went out of bankrupt in the Remington bankruptcy. So the price was right, but I was concerned about parts. Berettas, so as a firearm, they're okay. Again, being a left-handed shooter, so like the Beretta 92s or anything on that platform, the M9s, I don't shoot them very well. It breaks my grip. They have the transfer bar for the trigger mechanism that protrudes out the right side of the frame. And so for a left-handed shooter, they don't work for me. Yeah, I don't know. I've had I've had quite a few Bushmasters over the years, um, and I never had anything bad. The only thing I had bad, and it was similar to what you're saying, was with that Bushmaster Type 97 Carbine 15 pistol. Uh, they didn't have any feed lips cut in that, so it did the same thing. The gun would double feed and wouldn't chamber rounds. I sent that into Bushmaster, and I don't know if they changed it or if they just actually did the work, but they added feed lips to the barrel receiver. I'm assuming they probably just changed the barrel, but guns ran fine since. A lot of them early Bushmasters, they didn't have the M4 cut, so when you look at them, you don't see the feed ramps. Uh, and that was authentic. That's what they were supposed to be. And one of the problems with them is they weren't designed for our modern ammunition with the heavier bullets. They used 55 grain ammunition. So these 62 grain or 77 grains, they're too long. The cartridge is too long. Plus, they were all, most of them were a 223 barrel, a 1-9 twist. So you can get that fixed if it's an issue, but that's some of the things that I used to see people complained about them. Beretta makes decent shotguns. I don't own a Beretta shotgun anymore. I had I think it was a 390. It was a semi-auto. Uh, I just didn't shoot it very well. Everybody else shot it well. I didn't. I traded it in on my Benelli years ago. Back in like 2004, 2005. It depends on the extended mag. Uh, Longer the mag is, generally the more problems you're going to have. The 300s are, I mean, that's what they're known for, is being quiet, easy to load subsonic rounds for. That was kind of the big point. The easiest way to make a subsonic round is go with a big heavy bullet and a slow power, so you keep the velocity slow, but you still have a good kinetic energy transferred, right? I think the 300 Blackout was probably expected to be picked up more for CQB, but there's some limits with that cartridge too. All right, Orange Smoke. I appreciate you stopping by. I've seen you a few times now in the lives, and it's great conversations with you. So, I mean, I'll catch you another time, but thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, if you haven't, go to D-Dog Tactical's channel and subscribe to him. D-Dog, D space, then Tactical. He's got some really cool shit on there. He's a good guy. Yeah, they seem to be making a comeback with shotguns for drones. It's kind of funny when the simplest solutions are simple tech. Keep it simple. I haven't seen anything about drone seeking missile drones, but the technology is growing so fast. It'd be interesting. I've never flown a drone. I bought one for my oldest one year for Christmas, and he was playing with it and playing with it. And I'm like, let me try. I crashed it. I broke it. So, and it wasn't even like I hit one button and it did this crazy flip, and that was the only experience I ever had touching a drone. When I buy a handgun, I have a purpose. I'm going to use it for something. My latest purchase in a handgun, I have two of them. I bought a Shadow Systems MRP 920, and that I actually got for my daughter. You'll see that when she starts shooting here this summer. It's a Glock type firearm, but it's got a comp on it. So for an 11-year-old girl, that's going to be a great firearm. The gun I bought just before that, I bought a Dan Wesson DWX. And I like that gun. I haven't shot it a ton. I've had it since just before Christmas. I got a little over 2,000 rounds through it. But there's gotta be a reason I buy a gun. I don't just buy it because everybody else has it. Yeah, hopefully we'll get some more traffic. So on the last live I did, D-Dog, it was like 12,000 views. It was 2 hours, and it ended up being, I think it was a little over, um, oh, like 80 watch hours or something. So that put me at just way at the halfway mark of having enough watch time to get that full monetization on the channel. So I figure if I can get similar results today, uh, or seventh, well, I don't recall what it is. If my oldest is here, I'd have him pull it up. But it put me within a video or two of being able to get monetized. So, like I think I told you last year, as I move into this year, all the shorts and stuff, I'm not going to waste my time on it. I'm going to go back to what I want to show on the channel, and that's going to shooting competition. That's taking my kids out shooting. Trying to share some of the stuff we have that somebody might find interest in. Yeah, that's why I keep telling you to do a live. I mean, it's honestly, it's kind of cool sitting here and chatting with people. Uh, it's cool to see different people from all over the world jump in. Um, so that's why I keep saying to jump on that. I originally I was gonna set up and do like a gun wall, and I did one live where I just showed the safe. And you know what? That's whatever. I'd rather bust out a few things and have some conversations about it. Um, and hopefully it works out to the point where I can do videos. I mean, we can do videos now, but I haven't felt there's value to it at this point. Uh, the shorts or the shooting shorts, if they get views, it's worth sharing. But honestly, I like to record our matches anyway, so that I can go back and I can critique myself, or my son can look at his footage and critique some himself. It's easy to look at another person doing something and be like, hey man, uh, your footing wasn't right. You didn't move into that position right. But to try and do that to yourself without being able to see it's tough. So that's why we started recording our match footage, was for our own use, to be able to go back and look at. And it was like, hey, some of the stages, like it's cool to see some of the stages where you just burn it down. And of course, John Wick always chimes in, has something negative to say. But at the end of the day, it's cool. It's cool to be out and shoot. It's cool to be out and shoot fast. It's cool to be able to have some really cool guns and to go out there and actually use them, versus the people that are standing there on the side of the road and shooting, or the guys whose range footage is just standing there shooting at a target that you never see. That's whatever. Yeah, I mean, basic rules of firearm safety. I've had guns my whole life. Uh, I grew up on a farm, so I mean, probably 8, 9 years old, I was out doing field work and tractors, and I always had a rifle with me. When I would be out taking care of animals and stuff, I'd have a 22 slung on my shoulder. The time you need it is when you don't have it. So we got to the point where we almost always had a firearm on us. You'd be out feeding horses or something, and a rat runs by, well, you shoot it. Or um, walk into the barn and there's a fox in there. We whack it. Uh, so got to that. Yeah, I need to get one of them cameras too. And even seeing you with yours, I like the footage. It looks cool. I was talking to a guy last night on one of my other channels, and he has a camera. He said he got it off Temu. I was looking today and I just didn't find it. Uh, but it's a tripod, and it has one of the auto tracking cameras in it. He said he only paid like $20 for this thing. Man, make your gun videos. Um, just do it safe. If you're gonna show yourself shooting, make sure you have eye protection, ear protection on. Maybe we all skip that sometimes, but you never know who's gonna watch your video. So set a good example, be a good role model. Um, but making gun content can be kind of fun. It's cool to share a passion and connect with other people that have a passion, or that you can ask questions or have questions asked. You know, you find people like D-Dog, he's got a race gun like mine, and him and I talk about different things. Uh, you know, I changed some things on mine, he changed some things on his, and I ask him, well, you know, hey, what do you think of it? You know, so it's cool to be able to connect with people that way. There's a lot of haters. Somebody's always better, somebody's always faster, somebody's always got something nicer, and somebody's always got negative to something to say. But I'll be honest, my videos that do the best are the ones that get the most hate. It's a little double-edged sword and it's a hard pill to swallow, but it seems to be what drives the algorithm. I was talking to my wife about that last night, and I came up with this theory that when you get a lot of hate on a video, generally speaking, when I look at the commenters and I go to their channels, because hey, I want to see who's talking shit, it's usually newer channels. And why I think them types of comments drive the algorithm is YouTube is looking at these people as a new channel and they're engaging with another channel. So it's like suckering them in, getting them hooked. So if they can get a bunch of new channels putting all this stuff out there, that's drives their algorithm. I think them are different cameras. That InstaPro, I think it's the InstaPro 360 D-Dog has. They're an action camera, but they're small. I think a lot of them 360 cameras that do the 360 view, them are like I don't even want to quote it because I'd be wrong. But they're a different type of camera. Most powerful gun I own is a 50 caliber, 50 BMG. What's the most powerful gun you own? Mr. Kenny Ramirez. Yeah, a lot of people do that. I don't know. I'm not afraid to have people know who I am. It doesn't bother me. Uh, but a lot of people, I think, are more comfortable and feel a little more open to be able to hide their identity. I think after a while, it doesn't matter, especially when you start to get to know some of the people that are going to follow you. You know, you start seeing them, you know, video after video, week after week, and then you get to know them and you're watching their videos. It's like talking to a friend. You know, it's not, I don't know, it's not something embarrassing. Uh, you know, keep in mind, like I said, somebody's always going to find something wrong with you. You know, you're too old, you're too young, you're too wrinkly, you're too pimply. You know, you look like a bum, you look like a prep, you look, you know, somebody's always going to have something negative to say. Yeah, that's an AR-15. It's an early Bushmaster. Not real early. It's like a 2001 manufacture date. No, and it doesn't. And I don't know. It's weird because it's hard not to take things personally when they're attacking you. And then it's almost to the point where, hey man, if you were standing here right now and you said this stuff to me, you'd you'd be drinking your supper. You wouldn't be able to eat it. But in the same thing, it's a bunch of people that um, are jealous. You have things that they don't. How many bullets does the AK-47? I'm not sure what you mean by take. It's an AK, so yeah, let her know. So 5-round capacity, 10-round capacity. There's 15, 20, 25, 30, 40-round magazine, 75-round drums. No, I can't recommend any good gloves. A lot of people, they find good mechanics gloves, and that's what a lot of people will use, just a good pair of mechanic brand gloves. And that's what I used to use too. I've had Oakley's, and the mechanics gloves worked better and lasted longer. Well, I mean, I get it. I'm not a fan of wearing gloves shooting if I don't have to. Sometimes requirements dictate that you're gonna need to. So the smallest gun I have is actually out here right now, and that's the North American Arms 22. I have a 17 HMR, so caliber-wise, the 17 HMR is smaller. However, overall dimensions of the pistol is at North American Arms. No, I don't. I never was a fan of wearing body armor. It's too heavy, it's thick, it slows you down. It saves people's lives. In the civilian world, there's no reason to be wearing body armor to go to the range and shoot. That's just makes you look like a tool. I get people want to train with it, but realistically, most people aren't going to be wearing body armor to fight. Keep them over there, please. I don't want to get my Peter whacked by having them in there again. Well, make sure somebody's watching them, please. I kept trying to get over here. I asked Harley to dog sit, and she failed.
Do you dog clothes on?
Correct. So the main types of competition we shoot Steel Challenge, we shoot USPSA, I shoot USPSA 3-gun, then 2-gun, and we shoot rifle matches. I do 600-yard matches. I don't do any of the precision rifle shooting matches. They're the sniper matches. I don't shoot really any IDPA. I used to a lot. I don't now. But primarily we shoot either Steel Challenge or USPSA. Well, a good thing about being on camera is you record your stuff, and unless you're doing a live. No, not for 3-gun. I had, because you only need a few magazines. So I had my pistol belt with my pistol magazines, and I had some Kydex holders for my my rifle mags on a course of fire that had shotgun shells. Yeah, I had a chest rig I used to hold shells, but not every stage had shotgun shells or shotguns. Yeah, belts are faster. That's why I went with that way. I mean, we found that when we were active. You had to, but you know, carrying armor and then having that is just, it's slow. It gives you a goofy cheek weld on your rifles. So if you're looking for a belt, the best place to go to find something that's going to work for you would be Ben Stoger's Pro Shop. He's got all the competition belts you could want. If you're looking for something more tactical, then you're gonna have to probably look elsewhere. But a lot of people for that stuff, like the battle belts and stuff, for competition use, you're gonna go with a competition belt, and them you can find on Ben Stoger's Pro Shop. I have the flex belt, so it's got removable and addable links. So, you know, for like my kids, as they get bigger, we add links. As I get fatter or skinnier, add or subtract. Yeah, if you're shooting, if you're shooting an AR or even an AK or something like that, and you're running, um, one get CR, man. If they're local, support them. If you're running on your support hand, yeah, wear a glove. Yeah, double alpha makes great stuff. That's what my MIG pouches are. That's what my holster is. I got the double alpha flex belt. The CR Speed stuff is all good products too. You won't go wrong with any of that. Man, we're all paranoid to an extent. There's nothing wrong with it. That's a natural instinct. That's what's kept people and animals alive for centuries, thousands, and millions of years.
Yeah.
I'll have to look and see what them are. I'm not familiar with that off the top of my head, what the black scorpion is. You know, there's so much gear out there, so many different manufacturers, that you gotta take the plunge and get something, and then you can determine what you like or don't like. They might be nice for everyday use, if you're patrolling and stuff, but for actually being in a fight, to get MIGs out, D-Dogs right, they're slow. It's an odd way to hold it. We used to have a guy, and he had gear. It was really cool. What it was is, it was, rather than having your magazines vertical, they were inverted. So he like took his chest rig and turned it sideways. That was efficient, and that would be similar. I mean, it worked. That was a really good setup, and I think he created it himself. I never had that close of interaction that I could talk to him personally about it. I just saw it in use. Hey, there you go. Orange smoke your back. So you said you're getting a snowstorm. What part of the country are you in? Just kind of curious about that.
Yes, it's not that good.
I haven't looked for a holster for it. So for Steel Challenge with a rimfire pistol, you start at a low ready. So anything that way, I don't need a holster. But I'm sure there'd be anything that would fit a Ruger Mark IV would probably work. I can't say for sure though. I just suspect. Northern Minnesota. So you're not far away from me. I'm in central Wisconsin. Yeah, and I'm not sure. I haven't had any reason to try to buy a holster for it. You know what probably would work is if you got like one of the race gun holsters. I know they make them. like the one I use for my checkmates and our tactical sport oranges, they grab just the trigger guard. I'm sure there's probably something out there that would work that way to grab just the trigger guard and hold the pistol that way. I don't think there's anything wrong with practicing that at 2 a.m. I mean, it might be weird if other people see you doing it, might have questions. But I think I've had things that woke me up out of the sleep, and I have 3 really big dogs. They're not barking, but something woke me up and I heard it. I get up, I clear my house, you know. I don't just take it for granted because my dogs don't bark that nothing's going on. You know, if something woke me up and I heard a noise, I'll even go out and check my garage, my vehicles. But if it makes you feel better or feel safer or anything else, then there's nothing wrong with that. CR speed holster. I remember did you ever sell that left-handed one that you had? I have that double alpha racer XI, and it does the same thing. It grabs the trigger guard. I have the ability to add the extension that the barrel will rest into, but I don't need it. The gun stays fine. I think people add that just to maybe feel the gun's a little more secure. He sold it to Levi. That guy's fast. I've been watching some of his stuff. D-Dog does. So screenshot his name there. Go to his channel and subscribe. He's a solid dude. I've been plugging him all along. So check his channel out. He's a great guy. Patriot Arms is another small channel. A guy's real cool, real solid. He does some reviews. Real humble guy, type of person. He doesn't swear. I was talking to him one day, and I was telling him about some primers. I told him the name of the website, and the name of the website was Tactical Shit. And he goes, I can't look that up. So real decent guy, kind of that old world values. You'd have to go to his channel and talk to him. He'll tell you about that and why he's that way. You can sit if you want. I don't know. Maybe half an hour. You can go do that. Probably 4 o'clock.
I gotta do it, man. Shit, I'm gonna have to go back in tomorrow. It's a shitty day.
I keep one in my car too. That way, if for some reason I don't have my carry gun, I still have that. Start with showing your gear for the bench rest. People, I don't know, people like to kind of see the gear and how it works. Make sure, of course, you show your groups. Yeah, like I was saying earlier with that North American Arms, there's times where you can't carry a normal firearm. That works. But yeah, I keep one in my car. I keep one in my bike. And I generally have my carry gun I carry. But I don't ever want to be in a situation where I'm outgunned or out armed. Yeah, and it works great. You know, you're out on the beach walking with your dog, and somebody's dog gets loose, and now it's rolling over your dog, attacking your dog. Yeah, a perfect thing. That's exactly what they're for, and a good point. You know, up close, boom, that's over. I get it. You know, I just I don't know. I don't have any desire to throw a bunch of heavy gear on. It's like putting a lid on. I have it. I don't know. No reason for me to wear it. What kind of dogs do you have? So one thing I can share, German Shepherd. You have one Shepherd, or you have more than one? One thing I'll say, if you're gonna have your kids on YouTube shooting, and this is just what I've learned with mine, is one, you want to make it very clear that there's eye protection and hearing protection, and these little disclaimers people say, we're at a range, you know, we're in a safe, controlled environment. All that stuff is really important when you start showing a kid shooting a firearm. And what works best when you're going to show your kids shoot, and don't show the side of them, and you're definitely not going to show the front, but get a back view, because uh, they'll trigger the YouTube algorithms, and they'll start saying it's child abuse or exposing children to dangerous, harmful acts. Uh, and I still, my middle son now, we don't get hit like we used to, but I still get hit with my daughter. So unless I have her in a match shooting, and you know the targets are visible, proper eye ear protection, usually with a range officer in the video, I don't show her shooting. And she shoots as much as my son and I do. It's just YouTube nails you, and it sucks because you'll get a strike and you'll appeal it, right? Harmful, dangerous acts. Hey, we're at a range, we're shooting, everything's safe, eye, ear protection, following all the safety rules, and they'll stick you with it anyway. And it gets to a point then where every time you post a video of your kid, it'll trigger the algorithm. So my advice is, uh, you know, kind of back, maybe a slight angle so you can see, you know, the gun, but you can't see the face of the kid. And if you're getting them more from the back, they can't tell it's a kid. Uh, I even got a strike, was it 2 years ago, right? I bought my middle son for Christmas. I bought him his first competition belt, a double alpha uh, flex belt, and I got him his double alpha racer XI, and I had him showing it for Christmas on YouTube. Like, hey, he was excited. He was shooting a Glock 34 at the time, so he showed it and he gave a little review of this firearm, and I got a strike for that harmful, dangerous acts with a minor. So how are you doing? I appreciate you jumping in. I even had footage of him when we were out with the KSG shooting, and I got strikes on it. Shepherds are good dogs from my understanding. I've never owned one, but I've been around a bunch. The Malamos, I don't even think you can classify that as a dog. It looks like a dog, but that's anything but. They're a real work animal. I have American Bulldogs. I have 3 great big American Bulldogs. Tactical Solution. That's a good gun. The Tactical Solutions, they're a steel liner with a aluminum outer barrel, right? That's something of the right company. I don't have any experience with the G2C. That's not in my in my wheelhouse. A lot of people seem to start out their stuff in that. M16A1 receiver. No, it's a Bushmaster receiver. So the M16A1 would be a full auto receiver. And that's mine semi-auto. Yeah, they're work dogs. Little one's cute. Yeah, my wife says that to me all the time, and I have to realize what she's really talking about, and I get offended. That's the way they are, man. You know, you gotta. There's very few things better than a really good dog. I'll take a good dog over a good gun in a self-defense situation. Dog's a great deterrent. Mine, I kind of backed off on what I took my male with me. I used to take him everywhere with me. He's gotten older now, but I mean, he was serious, and the shepherds or Malamals are even more serious. Well, dogs are smart, man. You know, you always got to trust your dog too. You know, you hear people say, you know, my dog doesn't like you, I don't like you. I've had people that I was good friends with, and I knew a long time, but my dogs hated them, and every one of them people always ended up being some shit stick, and I should have seen it. So when you talk about the 22 precision stuff, are you doing like the bullseye, or are you doing like the precision rifle 22? What's up, Harley?
Never mind.
Never mind. Okay, it's a pretty good shot for a rimfire. What what are you running for ammo? I'm kind of curious about that. I mean, that's obviously not bulk package and stuff. And in order to get good accurate 22 ammo, are you using a case gauge to check the 22 cartridges? I know that's a thing where people have a gauge so that their ammunition is consistent. I had a rimfire guy talking to me about that one time when I was out with my black mamba. Oh, I bet that's how dogs are. You know, they're worth their hats. Thoughts on Noveski? Oh God, yeah, they're phenomenal rifles. I don't own one, so I can't compare it to something else I own. But you're never going to hear anybody at all say anything negative about anything Noveski. They're quality. Full Midas SK rifle match. I have some of the SK rifle match. That does shoot pretty well too. What's the best first pistol? The best first pistol, everybody's going to have an opinion on that. And your best first pistol is what you can afford and what you're going to carry. There's a lot of great options out there. So go to the store, pick up as many different firearms as you can. If you know a range or can find a range that lets you rent firearms, then shoot as many of them as you can. A lot of times, a firearm that you want to like, it looks cool, it feels cool, you pick it up, and you may not perform with it. So you have to set a budget, number one, and get out and handle as many different firearms as you can to find the right one. So it's funny you say that about people coming over, because with my 3 dogs, I can't have anybody on my property. Uh, they're 100% serious, and that's part of why I went with American Bulldogs. Is they're very protective. They're farm dogs, um, so they're very brave and courageous. If I'm saying that right. Uh, I was gone a lot, and I'd be gone for weekends at a time, and so I got an American Bulldog because I wasn't sure my wife would shoot somebody, but I knew the dog would handle business. Um, so I got one, and then I got a female, and then out of them 2, I kept a puppy from a litter. So an English Bulldog, they're small. My American Bulldog, my puppy, he's like 130 pounds, and I mean he's waist high on me. They're massive. They're the real deal. But on property, I can't have people coming by. I can't have, strangers show up. They're serious about doing harm. My next dog, I probably won't have another American Bulldog because of that, and because I'm not a younger person, right? So I'm gonna have a dog for another 10, 12 years. I need to make sure as I get older, my wife gets older, that it's gonna be something that we can control. So with that being said, my next dog will be a Rottweiler, to give you an idea of what an American Bulldog is. Rottweiler is an easier to handle dog. Anytime you lose a dog is tough. Boston Terriers are cool as hell though. I'm not a small dog person, but you show me a Boston Terrier or a French Bulldog, dude, and I'm like a little girl. I giggle and think, oh, it's a puppy. They're cool. They're cool. Boston Terriers are really cool. I like them. My oldest sister had one, and I think that's the coolest dogs. Rottweilers, any dog can have hip issues, and like anything, you got to find a good breeder, and then you find a breeder that does the pin test on the hips, and so you're never guaranteed 100%. But if you get a good dog, you get a good bloodline, and they do the pin test on the parents, so the parents genetically have good hips, you're probably okay. Hey man, it's all right. Don't sweat it. Hey, Jonah, if you did you check out D Dog's Tactical? Can you, if you didn't, would you go there and hit a subscribe for him? Bulldog mixes a, yeah. Uh, I don't know. I'll be honest. I've had dogs my whole life. We raised dogs. We showed them in obedience, AKC obedience. Uh, My American Bulldog was absolutely the easiest dog I've ever trained in my life. He's super high drive, real high drive. And because he's high drive, he's high reward. It was so easy to train him. Just absolutely incredible. D-Dog, don't sweat it, man. I told you, think back to like the very first conversation we had when I came across you and your parrot. I said, your channel is undervalued and underappreciated, and I'm going to work on that. You earn it. I mean, you legitimately earn it. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for the subscribe. If you leave, because I can't come back and see these comments, leave a comment on one of my videos. I'll know your name. I'll subscribe to your channel. Absolutely. You know, mixed dogs genetically are more healthy. Any purebred dog, they've purified the bloodlines, which also pass on bad genetics. So when you take a dog and you have a mixed breed, them generally end up being your healthier dogs. If you know your breeders and they're mixing dogs, you can get a good dog. I wanted to take one breed that I really liked, and it's not technically a breed, but it's a mix. Is a lot of people take boxers and then they take American Bulldogs, and they mix breed that, and they get what's called a bull oxer. You add fresh genetics to the boxer bloodline, so you get rid of a lot of the genetic traits that follow them, but you end up with some really cool dogs. I've been looking for one for years, and when I'm in a position to be able to have another dog, I can never find them, and then I come across them. Yeah, Rottweilers are cool. My mom used to work at a place called Heidelberg Kennels. Um, they raise it's protection dogs, and they're all Rottweilers. So these dogs are all German Rotties, and I mean some of the scariest dogs you ever see, but they're some of the coolest dogs when they're trained and worked with. Super smart dogs. Boxers are the shit. I used to have them, and I used to breed them, but the genetics, man, you're trying to give people good dogs, and they just they're a 10-year dog. They live 8 to 10 years, and they turn into cancer machines, and that's just what it is. Uh, the dogs I had before my American Bulldogs were boxers, and they were great, phenomenal, smart, loyal, well disciplined. Um, but I lost all three of them at 10 years old. They all had genetic, and it feels bad because I was breeding them too, right? So even though I had full pedigrees, I did the hip tests or the hip pin test. It's what the dog is. The American Bulldogs, that breed almost went extinct, and Dr. Johnson after World War II reintroduced the breed, and him and Scott, I think it's Scott Allen, started brought back the American Bulldog breed, and it was through selective breeding. They were, getting good specimens, good examples, and they would breed a couple generations before they would take one and use it for breeding stock. Uh, so, health wise, it's a healthy breed. When you say mid-size, what do you consider mid-size? Like a 60 to 80 pound dog, or smaller? I think if I ever had a small dog, I would I would lean towards. I really like them Boston Terriers. I ain't gonna lie, and I really like French Bulldogs, but I'd probably go with a Boston. And at some point in my life, I'd definitely like to own an English Bulldog. So the smallest revolver I have is on the table. I can't pick it up and hold it. If you want to see it in a little better detail, I did a short just before I posted live today, and you can see the gun a little better. If you want to see it more after that, I'll gladly do something. But you know, 5060 wasn't a true American Bulldog, more closer. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Any dog though, until they're about 2, they're a puppy. It Yeah, they were shorter. Uh, they looked a lot like, well, it looked a lot like a pit bull and a boxer. So they come from the bull and Beiser breed. If you don't know what a bull and Beiser, that's where um, boxers and bulldogs both come from, and the pit bull bloodline has some of that in there too, along with American bulldogs have the mastiff. Same with boxers, they have some mastiff lines in them. With the Wesson wife, that's okay, right? Women are hard to pick guns for. Is You don't want to get them a small gun because they're hard to shoot, but they don't want anything bigger. Yeah, chasing them around. So the two main types of American bulldogs, and I said the names already. You have Johnson, and you have Scott. The Scott uh, American bulldogs, they're thinner, smaller, and more athletic. They're a working dog. Where the Johnson line, they're bigger and muscular, shorter muzzles. Um, Both of them are phenomenal farm dogs, and they're a lot of people don't realize it, but people that are really into hog hunting and have catch dogs, uh, or are using big dogs for pigs, that's the breed they go with. They'll go with like a Johnson. A lot of people mistake it for some type of pit bull mix or something. Uh, Pit bulls, they're cool dogs. I way back when I moved out and we bought our first house, I had a pit bull, and man, she was the coolest dog. But even with socializing her from a puppy on, taking her in a dog park and stuff, as she got older, she became very animal aggressive. And I mean, ultimately, a dog is a tool, right? They're genetically bred to do certain things, so you have to appreciate what a pit bull is. You have to appreciate what a shepherd is, and you can't dismiss or ignore what their genetic disposition is because you want to believe it's something different. Orange smoke, I appreciate it. Careful of that snowstorm. Watch out for them. them, them. Yeah, I won't want to insult you guys, but yeah, you take it easy, and I'm glad to see and chat with you. I appreciate everything good you have to say. Love dogs, trust. Yeah, it's like I said, it's a genetically disposition animal. Dog's a dog, a cat's a cat, a horse is a horse, and you're not gonna change it into something else. My boy, Mini 14 King. So I want to tell you this because I was listening to you. When you talk about Germany, my I'm second generation German. My grandfather fought in Germany. He was a prisoner of war, captured and brought to the United States. And he was a POW until the end of the war, at which time he was sent home for cleanup and rebuilding. At that point, my his parents and my grandmother's parents immigrated to the United States. Um, in the early 50s, he was allowed to become an American citizen. So that's about all I got to say about all that. Yeah, dogs are scary, and the seriousness they get is intense. Yeah, they're a working dog. They're a high prey dog, a high drive dog. So you got to remember, right? A German Shepherd is a shepherd. It's a working dog. It's a herding dog. It's a working animal. So that's what they want to do. They want to work. When you're playing with a ball or you're doing that stuff, that's what the dog instinctively wants to do. You know, it's a high drive, high reward. A high drive, high reward. It makes it easy to change. Yeah, man, absolutely. We are a melting pot, and like I was trying to say earlier, you know, people that want to come into a country and their first act into a new world is a criminal act. In my eyes, they don't belong. Go home. You know, you want to be part of a normal, productive society and be a contributing member and not a drain. Cool, but you got to do it legally. So, needless to say, I was watching. I just couldn't get typing fast enough when uh, you were a little heated. One thing I want to tell you too, and I typed it. I don't know if you saw it. Don't ever handle firearms deer and alive. If they catch you handling a firearm, they'll kill your channel. So even if you're just picking it up and moving it, don't do that. You'll get hung up that way. I think everybody agrees. Even people that went, and even maybe more. Let me say it like this: even maybe more people that did immigration and become natural citizens. I think they probably feel stronger about it than maybe you or I because they put in the work. They put in the hard work. You know what I mean? Is it why? I was wondering. That's why I was asking you what happened. When you did that, I told you, I'm like, oh man, don't do that again. And I clicked out to answer some messages that popped up. And so if they nailed you on it, you can appeal it, which you probably won't win. Don't do it again. when they hit me on my life, I didn't even have touch a firearm. My dog walked by, and they got me for that. Uh, but they didn't stop me from being able to post videos, but they killed my live for a few days. And then they put in a little nasty in there that we can permanently remove your ability to live and or take your channel away. Yeah, I appreciate everybody being on their best behavior. So Mini 14, are you subscribed to D-Dog Tactical? If you're not, you should go check. You should go check his channel out and give him a subscribe. Solid dude. That's just my experience, man. I'm gonna share what I learned with everybody. Um, None of us want to be getting strikes for stupid shit, and it's lame because you do it or I do it, we get hammered on it, and then other people get let slide, and it's bogus. But just my words of wisdom: set them out, talk to them. What I tried on this video, uh, yeah, D-Dog Tactical. What I did on this one today, because I put the guns out, I did a short just before, about an hour before I released the video, to actually show the guns versus having it just in a tripod. And hopefully that way, people that want to see them in better detail, they can just click to that video and see it. Everybody's parents work their asses off. They have to, That's the American dream, Want and work, and, we all want work, not we want without work. I mean, everybody wants a good, stable job, and that's how you provide for yourself and your family. Because my parents worked hard, it made me want to work hard. My wife's parents worked hard, she works hard. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Yeah, get back to your family. Spend that time with them. Take that lesson as my lesson. Appeal it, right? But you'll lose because whatever. But try in like 2 days. That's what they nailed me on, was 2 days. And I was able to repost and do lives. But now I have it so nobody can come in the frame. My dogs are blocked away. Life lesson, right? Get your watch hours up, and this is the way to do it. I appreciate Swamp. Thank you very much. And yeah, American traditional values. My parents never sat around complaining of what other people had or saying they were discriminated or whatever, held back. They just went to work. You want something, you go to work. If you're in a bad situation, you work your way through it, Never expected handouts. It was, I don't know, it was frowned upon to get a handout from somebody. Hey man, like I said, I'll check it out. You'll see me in your comments. If you wanna get watch hours up, lives seem to be the way to go. But there's nothing wrong with just doing you and stuff for you to enjoy. And what I have found is I show people a lot of respect, and I pay back to what they pay me channel wise. So I mean, if you're talking with people that are into the same things as you, it's easy. When they pop a video, you check their video out and you have a conversation, and they do the same for you. Well, if they showed up, they had a reason for it. Somebody said something. But I wouldn't worry about it. I think most of us have had to talk to feds for something at one point or another. And the one thing I can say is versus a city or a state or a county cop. The feds aren't there to make something out of nothing. They're investigating something, and their investigation is over, and they're satisfied. City thinks, oh, you're just getting one over on us, and we're gonna do whatever we have to. But I wouldn't worry about it, man. If you want to show your shooting stuff, show your shooting stuff. You know, just careful what you say, or how something could be misinterpreted, right? That's why I try to stick with videos of me shooting my kids. Would I love to take stuff out there and have maybe openly talk about my political beliefs? Sure, but that would just get me hemmed up too. It's kind of, you got to try to remember to be like an ambassador for what you want people to see in the 2A community. You know, we all go out, we all have bump fires or this or that, but do you show it? Probably not. You know, show the good stuff that makes people want to participate in your sport, makes people say, oh, well, I had a misunderstanding of what that could be used for. Show people that you can go out and have fun with a firearm and practice an American tradition, and it's not about doing harm or inflicting pain or death. So did they tell you what they were investigating or why they were there? I mean, I'm sure they had some very specific questions. I don't know if you're asking me that or if that's a statement. You know, people, high points work. So it's a straight blowback firearm. It's a pretty simple firearm to make work, both, to be honest. Yeah. So my opinion is they're a straight blowback firearm. They work. They're inexpensive. If you're serious about shooting, you're going to move past that pretty quick. If you just need something for protection at your house or whatever, it's going to work. High Point, for whatever it is, good, bad, or indifferent, they have a phenomenal warranty. So if you do go shoot it a bunch and it breaks, you can send it in, no questions asked, and they fix it and send it back. So a lot of gun companies don't do that. Once you buy it, you have a limited warranty, and that's that. But you know, you could argue and say, well, High Point has such a great warranty because the guns are bad, or they just have great customer service. Yeah, you gotta keep some of that stuff off camera. Especially, I think it's a little bit better now than what it was just a few months ago, politics-wise. I'm not sure how much High Point slides cost. I had some I sent back for customers over the years when I still had my shop, and they just replaced the whole gun. All their slides are cast. Yeah, it's like a pop metal. That was a couple I sent back had cracked slides, and one had some shit breaking a trigger. But I mean, I sent it out, and it wasn't even a full week later. It was returned because it was a different serial number. I had to do a transfer, dealer transfer, and then I had to do 468 on it, or 4468. I don't know. I never had to send anything into CZ. I know CZ USA, I've dealt with them a few times and stuff, and man, they were Johnny on the spot. But then I hear other people talk how they couldn't get any responses or this or that. Kind of the same things I said about PSA. It probably needs to be broken in. I think I don't think there'll ever be a higher quality pistol from them because that's their niche, right? They're a very budget friendly firearm. But they have come a long ways. Their triggers are better. They have, better finishes. They have better sights. They have threaded barrels. They have optics ready guns. You know, so they could come out with a better quality firearm. But like Anthony's, or it's you. I'm sorry. It it probably wouldn't be purchased. Well, I'd suspect if you were threatening people that they wouldn't have been there talking to you, but something somewhere, somebody saw something that, you know, gave somebody reason to come have a conversation. You know, any time something's phoned into a federal agency, they're obligated by law to investigate it. And 99% of the time, the investigation, even if they don't believe it's true, is they come have a face-to-face conversation with you. So I can't pick up the 22 and show you. I did do a short hour before I dropped this live, and I showed it a little bit better. But with live YouTubes, you can't handle any firearms. Whatever gun I would use for self-defense would be the one I would have with me. So what I generally carry is a Glock 26. I carry 124 grain plus P Hydroshock. It's a bullet I've carried for years and I've used. I don't know, man. If they're pulling stuff off your phone that wasn't shared with anybody, that means they're clearly watching you or looking at you. And if they're pulling footage off digital devices remotely, then they had a warrant. I appreciate you hanging out and chatting. I'm gonna actually get off here at 4 o'clock. Anthony, if you didn't, will you check out D Dog's Tactical's channel and maybe hit a subscribe button? I'd appreciate it. If you want to hit mine too, solid, cool. I appreciate that. Thumbs up would be cool. But I want to show some support to D Dog. He's earned it. He's a solid guy. I appreciate it. We'll talk more. I enjoyed the conversation. I hope that we get to talk more. I appreciate it. Like I said, more than you know. Any of you guys that are still here in about a minute or so, I'm gonna shut this down. So I wanna thank any of you that hung out and chatted. I appreciate your time on a Saturday afternoon. Your time is valuable. So I just want to say thank you for sharing it with me, and I hope that maybe we had a good conversation. So best of luck to all of you.